folks. How would you like to go to the high seas today? We're going to carve a sign. It's going to be a tribute to Toby Keith, and let me show you what we're going to do. Toby Keith had a song called Rum is the Reason Pirates Never Ruled the World, and I fell in love with it, and unfortunately I can't play it on the YouTube because of copyrights, but at least I can do a tribute. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and we're going to make a sign, and this is the start of it. And what we're going to be doing is no tracing this time, folks. Wow, what a surprise. We're going to be doing just a regular spray over a template. These letters and the pirate itself stencil you can get from makeawoodsign.com, and I will have a link below for both. And if you're interested in getting this, and if you would just tell Eric and Ryan that I said hi. So I've got letters, but all the letters of the R's we put in the top, and then we're going to put down here at the bottom, and those are the rest of the letters there. But we've got to spray this first, and I'm going to cover this up. As you haven't figured out, sign carvers, we go through an awful lot of painter's tape, and it's at least I do. But I haven't seen many people that said that they haven't. And all I'm doing here is trying to minimize a lot of overspray for the rest of the project, so the less I have to sand off, the better off we're going to be. But all I want to do is I just want to make sure that I can get this all marked off there. And where we're going to put the rest of the other letters, we're just going to go ahead and tape this to cover that up. The reason being, it's going to be a two-step painting process or spray process. Okay, the other thing I want to do is, most signs you see, people go ahead and they just have straight lines for their lettering and stuff. I wanted to do something a little bit different for this, instead of just show that, hey, you don't have to have straight lines for your words. And we're just going to try this and see how it turns out. And I just want to get this to where it's a little bit symmetrical and a little bit same distance on the sword here. That looks good. And bring this down a little bit. There, that looks good. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and lightly spray this. Again, what I'm using is Rust-Oleum ×2 Ultra Color Ultra Matte Black Primer. You don't want to use paint, you want to use primer. Paint will have a glossy effect to it, and it will be awful hard to sand off, whereas primer, all we're doing is just covering the stencil to make sure that we will be able to have a good design so we can go ahead and do our routing. So to do this technique, you don't want to be spraying directly like this because you blow your letters all over the place. And usually, to minimize that, because of the pressure from the can, especially if it's warm out and your can gets warm, you can take and put it in the refrigerator, a refrigerator, preferably not one that you have beverages and stuff in, but put it in a refrigerator and just let it cool it down. And that will minimize the excessive pressure in the can, so when you spray, you won't blow your letters around. So when I do this, we're probably gonna be about that high, which you can't see, but we'll be about a good 1.5 feet high to do this. There, you want to make sure you got paint coming out. Okay, here we go. All we want is just a light outline of the letters. There. Okay, so let that sit and dry for a few minutes. Then we'll take all the lettering off and we'll tape over the pirate and this lettering up here, and then we'll go ahead and set our letters up for down below, and we should be in good shape. Let me see if I got any other primer up there. Oh, I do have primer. So another thing is, if we lay our letters out down here and I want them closer, but yet we got black on there, I can use red primer I've used, or gray primer I've used, to spray over the letters as well, and that works just as good. So in case you have an area where you want two different wordings and stuff like that, and you didn't cover this off like I did, that you can use a different color primer and use that for the letters as well. So you're not just limited to black. You can use any gray primer or any primer, as long as it's no glossy to it. Let's see what we got here. Good crisp letters here. This will work out nice. Okay, let's see how our pirate turned out. Arr. Not too bad, huh? That worked pretty good. So we'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and I'll mask this off camera, and then we'll get ready to put the letters on. I'll bring you back in when we're getting ready to put the letters on. Okay, we got most of it masked off here. Just a little bit more here. It's going to be a cool project to do. Challenging, but cool. I say challenging, I'll show you when we start routing why it's going to be such a challenge. But it'll be fun. Okay. You're going to put that on lightly. We don't have to really bear that down too hard because we don't take all the primer off. Now, I don't have enough letters to do everything all the way across, so we have to fudge this a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get these letters the way I want them here. Actually, I think we're going to do this different. Hold on. Okay, what I've done is I've laid out the letters the best that I could with what I had. This is what we come up with. So, a little trick that I learned is if you don't have enough letters, you do is you go ahead and you lay out what you have, and then you go ahead and you spray, and then you peel the paint off or the tape off, and then you put your letters down and tape off all the other, and then spray again. I'm going to go with the black again. You'll tough it out with that. Again, like I said, you want to hold it high. You want to don't be too close. There. Now we can take the tape off. Do it. Let that dry off a little bit. Take all the tape off and see what we got. Okay, let's see what we got here. Took the letters off. Okay, everything that's on there is good enough to be able to trace out with the router and be able to see it clearly. Now it's going to look too bad. Now I have to decide if we want to use outset letters or if we want to use inset. I think we'll probably use inset for most of them. Because outset were too close to the sign itself of the pirate. But I think we'll do inset for that. Not bad. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start trimming this out. And I'm going to start with a carving bit, carving liner. Set to no deeper than 1/8 of an inch. We're going to get into these finer tight areas where we won't be able to get in with a profile bit. Here we go! Okay, we're down to where we have just clean out here, and after that, or before that, we're going to go ahead and do our letters, and we're going to cut them at a 1/4 inch with a profile bit, and we should be done. earlier I said we were almost done putting the spray on. I decided that we're gonna do something a little bit different and snazzy this up a little bit. And what I've done is I made a line over here for the top, and what I'm going to do is make another line once we get this top cut and smoothed out, and we're going to make this outside of this sign look like a treasure chest. And I've already got my lines marked out for the seam for the top of the lid, and then once we get this cut and cut out, then I can do the layout for the sides. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to can them in just a hair, just to make it look more a little realistic. Then at the bottom we'll bring a line up and carve it just like we're going to carve these lines here, and then I'll just bevel the bottom edge, put a bevel on it. So I'll go ahead and cut this off camera, and I'll turn it on when I'm doing the sanding portion of it. Probably won't even see that. So, but we'll see what we can get here for you. Okay, we got the basic profile for the top done, and what we're going to do is we're going to mark down 1 1/4 to give us a lid for the top. Actually, I think I'm going to go 1 inch. That way it's not crowding the letters too much. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a marking gauge, and we're going to adjust this marking gauge 1 inch, and yours truly doesn't trust measurements, but that is spot on. So all we're going to do is we're just going to take and put this across here, and we'll just follow it along, and there, gave us a nice score all the way around. Be symmetrical. Probably going to do the same thing over here, but I've got to angle this just a hair. Yeah, we'll have enough room for that. So I'm going to leave that setting just like that. And take from the corner here. We don't want too much of an angle. Let's see what we got here. Go 3/4. Looks pretty good. Score our mark. There. Now I'll cut them out. We'll sand that down to size to make sure it's fairly flat, and go from there. basic design, just a little bit of a pitch in. Now I'll go ahead and take our marking gauge again. Use that same distance, and we're going to go ahead and score the wood. Now what I'll do is I'll make circles for the rivets or nails that they used. They didn't have rivets back then, but we'll use for nails, and we'll put little spots. So when I route around, I'll route around them to make them a little bit pronounced. I've got a 60-degree router bit installed here, and I'm gonna try to go with the nails and try to give them like a beveled edge to them, like a cut nail of some sort. We'll see how that works out. I haven't got a very deep cut with it, so we aren't gonna have to go 1/4 inch deep like the rest of the sign. We just want to be able to highlight it, and if it's a little shallow, about maybe 1/8 of an inch at the most, we should be good. So here we go. I have a close-up for you because I have my GoPro all charged up now. Okay, now I'm going to go with the spiral upcut bit, and I'm going to go ahead and counter edge this, drop this down a little bit. And what we'll do is we'll start on the outside and work our way in, because that way, if I go from here and work my way out, the router could tip and I'd have less stability. So we'll start at the edge and work our way in. But I think maybe I ought to finish this one here. Much better. Now I'll go ahead and I'll change this a bit off camera, and we'll be right back. Okay, I changed the bit over to a 1/4 inch upcut spiral bit, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to start on the outside edge and work our way in. That way we will have good stability as we route. And like I said, we don't want to have this super deep. We just want to be able to make it look like it's a framework. And normally, if we wanted to do it right, I would take this part here and cut this down just 1/8 of an inch and leave this proud. But it's a sign we can do as we want. You know? That's the nice thing about making signs. You can set it up any way you want. It's your prerogative. So. here we go. There. What do y'all think? Whoop. I think it's going to look okay. A little sanding on the outside. We'll hit it with some spray paint and we'll sand it off and see what we got. We got it all sprayed. We're going to go ahead and sand it off. I'm going to use 1, possibly 2 discs with 60 grit. Then followed up by 120 grit and we'll be all done. And then we can put the clear coat over the top of it. So let me get set up here. Sometimes you have spots where you actually go into where you shouldn't be. Just touch them up a little bit with a Sharpie. And where's that other one I saw? Looks good. All right. There you go, folks. That's the reason why pirates never ruled the world. Rum. Hope you enjoyed this video, this sign. You can get the template from makeawoodsign.com, plus you can get the letters from them as well, and I have a link in the description below. I had fun doing this. Okay, I do have a window open right here, and let's see. Hope I have enough. Folks, naturally that's not how I spray it, but this can is almost empty, and I know if I stopped it wouldn't come back on. See if we can get another little shot here. We'll let that sit in front of that window for a few minutes until this place airs out. And then we'll go ahead and showcase it one more time. Okay, here we are, folks. Final product. Turned out pretty decent for only one coat of poly on there. And actually doesn't look too bad just to have that one coat on there. Maybe I'll put an extra coat on when I get some more poly. But yeah, that was a fun little project, and something that I always wanted to do, and I love that song anyways. And so if you like, please hope you will give me a thumbs up and subscribe and share it with your friends. I appreciate it, and we can see more content on here. And if you anything that you're interested in that you'd like to see for a sign made, don't hesitate to get a hold of me, and we'll see what we can do for you.